Well, our next guest hails from the Southwest Virginia foothills. He is set to release his debut album this Friday. It's titled Tales of Misfortune. Joining us ahead of his album release party that's taking place tonight in Nashville, welcome to the studio, Colby T. Helms.
Thank you so much for having me.
So great to see you. Man, so let me start. I got to tell you, I've jumped online, right, and between TikTok and Instagram and watching you do these live performances that you're streaming, you are covering the greats. I mean, you're covering, like, I know Grandpa Jones, John Prine. I mean, really kind of, too, bluegrassing it up a bit. And I'm thinking, you're a young guy. How did you find these artists? Was this family?
Well, my daddy was real big into old-time music, and he played in a lot of old-time bands, playing the juice harp, actually, back in the day, and he used to always tell me stories about it, you know? And music was just in my family, steeped in my family, but after he passed away when I was 12, I really got into the music itself. I had some kind of affinity for playing the guitar and singing and being on stage, and so I just kept going, and I started writing down all these different stories that I had, you know, accumulated over the years from my life, and I turned it into song form. And so this album that is coming out this Friday, it's about my life growing up in Southwest Virginia in a rural area, and just in experiencing the culture dwindling away and trying to capture time in a bottle, you know, lightning in a bottle, and that's what I'm trying to do with this album.
So you hail from, is it Boonsville,
yes,
Virginia?
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So listening to you pick, I mean, is that self-taught? Well,
it's pretty much self-taught. I've had a lot of good mentors over the years, and you know, watching these guys, these veteran bluegrass musicians, has kind of formed my playing style into something unique and something I try to be different than the other bluegrass players out there, and you know, take from a lot of different influences that you know may not get the recognition that they deserve.
Absolutely. Boy, you're so good, and you're so entertaining to watch. And I read that you called where you're from, and obviously, as you mentioned, that inspires the kind of songs you're writing.
Yes,
so it's kind of this mystical place, and it's really inspiring to you in what you've witnessed and how you've lived.
Yes,
Talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, so the place I live is called Franklin County, Virginia. It's the moonshine capital of the world. If you've ever seen the movie Lawless, then that movie's based on an event that happened in that area. But I, you know, over the years, met so many older people, and they tell me stories, and you know, you just see this culture in this beautiful rural place dying out day by day, and I just couldn't watch it just die and dwindle away. So I wanted to, you know, capture all these different influences and all these different, you know, people in my life that have inspired me, and put it into song form, so that, you know, people in other parts of the world, you know, will know that in regions like Franklin County and at the foothills of Appalachia, that culture and tradition is still alive.
Absolutely. And we could hear that in many of the songs, the 8 songs on this album, especially Mountain Brandy. I love that song, and kind of a tip to the hat to it being this old moonshine area in the foothills. I love that.
Well, you know, there's a lot of songs about moonshine. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, every other song on the radio talks about, you know, drinking or this, that, and the other. But I wanted to create something that's a testament to the people and the landscape and the culture, the tradition, and the history behind Southwest Virginia. And that's just something you just don't see as much of anymore.
Absolutely. I know you also not only collect a lot of vinyl records inspired by these heroes that you love to listen to, but also some great instruments as well. So a lot of people need to jump online. There is too much to talk about with this guy right here. You're just a phenomenal artist and player and songwriter, and I know we're going to have a lot more to come from you. This guy is going to be at Fest this year, which is a big festival, and that says a lot about you taking the stage there. It says a lot about your talents.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. You know, some of these musicians that are playing there, like, you know, Peter Rowan and stuff, you know, those are guys that I, you know, have looked up to ever since I was a little kid. You know, I'm fortunate enough to be born in a generation where we have the internet and have YouTube, and a lot of people my age never used those resources. You know, we have these resources like, you know, YouTube and the internet to go find all these amazing recordings and videos that are out there, and people just don't care and don't watch them. But I have tried to soak up everything I can from all these influences and put it back out there in a fresh new form.
Keeping the past alive. It's one of the many things I love about you. I'm just getting to know you, and I can't wait for a lot more music. He's going to stick around. Colby T. Helms in the studio. He's going to perform Daddy's Pocket Knife, and this is based on a true story. I'm going to let these guys hear it. It's coming up. You're going to stay with us, right?
Yes,
Play
ma'am.
that for us. Next.